Hello there. Welcome. Welcome to Rise and Receive. Excuse me. This is a reset point in your day where you get to explore how to receive your fulfillment by unlearning struggle. So today we are starting a 3-part series on receiving freedom. So if you feel trapped in your life for any reason, whether it's world conditions, COVID, relationships, job, money, for whatever reason you feel unfree or trapped or constricted or restricted, then I invite you to stick around because I think you're really going to like what we're going to unpack today. If you don't know me, my name is Sonia Miller. Excuse me. Got my tea. My name is Sonia Miller. I'm a speaker, coach, and best-selling author, and I show goal-oriented people the hard work habits they need to drop in order to become free to receive their long overdue rewards. And the way that I do this, excuse me there, is that I teach people how to receive. Because if there's one thing I've learned over 25 years as a life coach is that most people don't know how to receive. We know how to work hard. We know how to hunt and pursue. We're all about the hard work ethic. But when it comes to actually stopping all of the hard work and receiving our fulfillment, that's a less familiar skill set. And I always like to say that you cannot receive what you most want if you don't know how to receive. So that's what I do at Rise and Receive. I illuminate how to unlearn struggle and learn the skill set of receiving. So as I said, today we're going to talk about how to receive freedom and open the flow gates if you feel stuck, restricted, or constricted. And what I've been doing with this particular series is I've been illuminating blind spots. Now, I define a blind spot as when your current point of view hides an essential insight. Because when you are looking at something from a particular point of view and you don't know what you're not seeing, in other words, you can't see what you can't see, then you're going to create your reality based on that perspective because your consciousness, everything happening in your inner world, your thoughts, your feelings, your expectations, your life experiences, your sensations, all of the things that happen in your inner world comprise your consciousness, and your consciousness creates your reality. So your point of view really illuminates a lot about what is happening in consciousness, what it is that you focus on, and what it is that gets no attention. But when you get a blind spot illuminated, when you see things from another point of view, your consciousness shifts and you can receive all kinds of things that weren't available to you. That's why receiving is so incredibly powerful because all it requires is one shift in perspective and you open the flow gates. And that happens all in awareness. It's not based on what you do, it's in how you see things. And when you become able to see things in a new way, you become able to receive things you couldn't receive before. So a receiving blind spot then occurs when you're operating more as a human doing versus a human being. And that's where hard work comes from. When you over rely on doing, which is a whole lot of thinking and a whole lot of action, hard work ethic, then what happens is many times it's because you don't know how to access the being skill set, and being is receiving. And it's the simplest thing in the world because you are a human being. But we've been trained to not value that. And so we don't know how to look at being as something that's incredibly powerful, tangible, useful, productive, and produces results. However, as my students discover when they practice, when they learn and discover the 3-step receive method, and they just start practicing these awareness practices, things happen. It's incredible what you receive. So from a blind spots perspective, what I'm doing this time is I've decided to really highlight one specific blind spot and look at it from 3 different points of view. So you can really tap into opening the flow gates to freedom with a lot of insight, a lot of shift in perspective. So the particular blind spot we're going to be talking about this time in this 3-part series is what I call the separation blind spot. The separation blind spot. And because usually we can't see our own blind spots because we're blind to them, I like to offer clues. So you can start to explore if the separation blind spot is sabotaging or hindering or constricting your experience of freedom, or actually anything in your life, if you are perceiving what you want through the lens of lack. So if it's freedom, I lack freedom. Or, let me check my notes here, you feel separate from freedom. In other words, I'm not free. My freedom is out there in a series of conditions that need to be fulfilled. So it's only possible if or when something changes, which is actually the third way that you kind of have a clue that the separation blind spot is occurring. You feel separate from the freedom. Something needs to change before you can feel free. So if any of that resonates for you, then you might be sort of at the mercy of the separation blind spot. Now, in order to open the flow gates, what needs to happen is if you are wrestling with feeling separate from freedom, you have an opportunity to shift from separation consciousness. Remember, I talked about your point of view and your consciousness. From separation consciousness to oneness consciousness. So instead of being separate from freedom, you're one with freedom. Well, what does that mean? It means that instead of looking at freedom as something that you need to become, I need to become free, you get to explore that you already are free. You are freedom. So I thought I would read to you a little bit from this particular inspiration, source of inspiration. This is the Receive Freedom card from the Receive Oracle card deck. And I'm going to read from the Receive Guidebook. So this is just the beginning, and I'm going to be including a link to the whole card reading so that if you want to do a deep dive on this, there's quite a bit to say here. And I loved reading this when I reconnected with the wisdom here. So just as a place to start, you are freedom. Yet if you believe you are trapped, you will be. It won't matter how free you actually are. Your ability to know and feel your freedom has little to do with the physical conditions of your life. You may point to people and situations when you feel stuck, imprisoned, or unable to move. When you struggle to feel free, you may want to fight everything that seems to be holding you down. Your way to freedom is not an external battle. It's an internal homecoming, a remembering of who and what you really are. So we're going to be unpacking this more this week, but what I want to talk about are the 3 things that we're going to explore with this separation blind spot. One is, where do you look when you are wanting to feel free, when you're wanting to receive the experience of freedom? Where do you look? What do you see? We're going to talk about that in part 2. And in part 3, how do you experience freedom? So where, what, and the how of freedom in this separation versus oneness sort of a shift that allows you to open the flow gates. So today we're going to talk about, where do you look for your freedom? Do you look in the outer world and things needing to change in order to experience your freedom? Or do you look in your inner world? Well, that's the difference between becoming free and knowing that you already are free. In order to actually receive freedom and open the flow gates and get unstuck, you need to shift your attention from all of the things in the outer world that make you feel stuck, that make you feel trapped, that make you feel constricted, because that's what we do. We point, I'm not free because of this person or that thing or that situation. And you need to stop all of that, because that's your consciousness. You're going to keep feeling trapped until the cows come home if you keep looking at what needs to change out there. But when you stop that and become willing to turn within and even be curious about how it is that you already are freedom, then your consciousness begins to shift. And so we use the power of invitation through willingness to begin to open up that consciousness. So here's the willingness mantra from Receive Freedom. If you feel trapped, if you are feeling stuck around freedom and you really want to open the flow gates, notice when you're pointing to things in your outer world and simply stop, take a breath, and then gently turn your awareness within with this willingness mantra. Here it is. I am willing to savor my freedom by always returning to myself. I am willing to savor my freedom by always returning to myself. Simply by taking your attention from the outer world to the inner world, where your power is willingness. I am willing to savor the freedom that I already am, even if I don't know how that's true. Just place your attention on the freedom that you already are, the willingness to feel it, know it, experience it, perceive it, and just say it, breathe it, sleep it. Be an invitation for this. This is what's going to start to open the flow gates. All right? So come back for the next 2 parts of this series so you really get to learn more. And again, I'm going to include a link so you can read or listen to the whole card. It's really beautiful. It gives you some great examples of things that you can shift your awareness around to start tapping into your freedom. And we're going to really open the flow gates for freedom in your life if this is something that you would like more of. If you like this, please like, please share. It helps me reach the people that I'm here to serve. And if you're on YouTube, click the red subscribe button. And if you would like to start receiving right now by turning your attention inward 15 minutes a day, I invite you to check out the 30-day challenge. It's a very powerful, very beautiful way where you really get to tap into the 3-step receive method, ALI. You'll receive 1 video with a micro teaching each day. All you need is 15 minutes a day, and the flow gates start to open up right away. Also, if you haven't ordered your cards, go to receivecarddeck.com. Pre-order. They're going to be arriving in early May, and you can receive your companion workbook as a gift from me. If you're interested in the 30-day challenge, go to receivechallenge.com. All of the links will be provided above and below. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you at the next Rise and Receive. Bye, everybody.